You never met a man like me. You wouldn't understand. I'm in a rock and roll business, honey. Well, I'm in a rock and roll band.
Good morning, or is it still morning? It's still morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Rockstar Fitness Podcast, proudly in association with Bald Rob of Fat Loss Fat Lane and Simon of Made Coaching. Welcome, boys. Welcome. How are we doing? Simon,
all three of us are freshly trimmed.
Yeah, I can see.
Mate, you've got the best fade, Rob. You've got the best fade out of the three of us, man. Like, it goes all the way across the top of your head.
Your fade fades all the way up.
All the way, and then fade a little bit more here. I said that's where I want it. That's where I want the baldest bit.
Did you go Bruce Willis Die Hard 4? Is that when you went into the barbers? Went, that's what I want.
Yeah. And then when Die Hard 1 inside
the best part about this is that Rob's shaved his head because he thinks he's going bald, and he's really not got an issue. He's not got a problem at all. Because I had a look for him, he showed me, and he's not going bald. Maybe he was a little bit, maybe it's a little tiny bit thinner, tiny bit. It didn't justify shaving his head. He's pulled the trigger too early, man. He's premature, right?
Yeah,
this is like
what lockdown does to people, though, right? You did it for a while, though, right? You had a shaved head moment.
I shave my head. I shave my head periodically, and it's never about the way it looks or about my hair. It's always about something else. It's always about, like when my dad died, I wanted a fresh start, so I shaved my head. That was like, okay, we'll go back. We'll go into this from scratch. So it's things like that, or I did it once snowboarding. I had long hair down to here, like down past my shoulder, and one day I was hitting a jump and I spun off the jump, and the hair wrapped around my goggles and blinded me, and I almost died. And I managed to somehow touch down and ride to the bottom, and I went straight home. I got my snowboard off, straight back to my apartment. I was living in Colorado at the time, and I walked into my buddy Nicky's room, and Nicky was going bald, right? So he shaved his head all the time, properly going bald, not Rob going bald. And so I walked in, and I was like, I'm borrowing this, and picked up his clippers, and he's like, you what? And I walked out, and 15 minutes later, I was to the wood. So it's never about how it looks or anything like that. It's always just, I get bored as well. So that's why the beard, it's not a beard. We've talked about this. It's not a beard. Still got a couple of weeks to go. This is technically just stubble. The beard, I'll grow it. And I really like it. I love the beard, right? And Victoria likes the beard more than I do. But I get bored, and I want to see a change. So I'll have a day where all of a sudden it pops into my head. Oh man, you're a good-looking guy. You should shave that off. And then I'll go and shave it off, and I'm like, I do look good, but I kind of miss the beard now. It's exactly the same thing when I had long hair and I shaved it off. The next day I woke up and I'm like, man, I look good with my head all shaved and shit. But
I was about to say, there was no way you were going to say, I'm a good looking guy, I should shave this off. And you shaved it off and realised, I'm not as good looking as I thought, I need to grow it back.
It's never going to happen, Simon, is it? I'll get significantly older before I fall into that camp. No, so it's never about that. It was for me, it was just like I get bored or something happens where it becomes an irritant to me. And then I'm like, just got to go, fuck it, off. But luckily, I can grow back to this level of stubble in 10 weeks. So I was going to mention, Simon, I've noticed that I did see that you went to the barbers.
I did indeed.
We all saw your rather smouldery pec, didn't we?
I knew this was coming up.
Did we all?
And you know what? You mentioned this on an earlier podcast about my smolder. And I realised if a photo's taken me when I'm not smiling, it's a smolder. I didn't ask to it to be smoldered. I didn't try. I just took a picture looking nothing. And apparently I'm Dwayne Johnson levels of smolder.
Let's take a step back. Okay. let's take one huge fuck off leap backwards from the Dwayne Johnson part there.
I'm not as cool. Granted, I'm not as cool.
Let's not go there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that what we want to consider is this.
I mean, I think that's a pretty handsome motherfucker.
Incredible.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, have you guys seen the movie The Night Before?
No.
Yeah.
If there's a guy that good looking on there, I'll watch it.
Right, Simon, you need to watch it. But you need to watch it at Christmas. It's a Christmas movie. I mean, I don't think it would matter too much, right? But you could watch it. Anyway, Rob, you'll remember this, right? When he's in the store dressed as an elf and the manager's asking him to look whimsical.
Yeah,
Simon,
100%.
give me more
Yeah.
whimsy.
Mm.
Whimsy, Simon, whimsy.
That's not what I was expecting. I've got a whimsical look.
Did you have anything waxed there?
I did not. No, I did not.
Are you sure?
No, not on this occasion.
Okay.
That's only once a month.
Okay. It looks a little bit, around here, it looks a little bit too trimmed up coif, not natural enough. I think.
No, I went a little bit shorter this time, mainly one because I've got a wedding to go to on Saturday, and two, even though again, if yours is just stubble, mine is a nothing. But when in an incredibly hot and humid country, masks and beards are not that comfortable. So I thought I need to go a little shorter just so I can get through the summer, and then I'll make an attempt to have a real beard in the winter again.
Or just man up.
I'm trying.
I mean, Rob's not going bald, but he thought he was, so he manned up and shaved his head. That's look, that man right there, testicular fortitude. He looked at himself in the mirror and he was like, I've got great hair, I look fantastic, I'm a good looking guy. Fuck it, I'm gonna ruin it and shave my head because I might be going bald.
Did what needed to be done. And I was crying at the time. I did what needed to be done.
I think you should have gone line down the middle and gone all Back to the Future, like Doc Back to the Future.
I did go faux hawk first. I always do faux hawk first.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Like, why would you do anything else? I mean, whenever I shave my beard, I go through different phases of sort of beard and mustache. If you've ever grown a beard and you've never ended up with a little funky, I'm going to say Charlie Chaplin mustache, then there's something wrong with you. Who shaves their beard off without getting pictures of themselves in all sorts of comedy ways with fantastic looking facial hair? I mean, you're an idiot if you don't do that.
After November, I didn't do the Charlie Chaplin, but I literally did the right down the middle. So I had one half and then completely shaven on the other side. And I was tempted just to like go out with it and just have completely different viewpoints from different angles. But no, I went off it went.
I mean, just look how suave Rob is with hair. I mean,
look at that clickbaity head title. That is Instagram gold.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. From the man that hated clickbait. I mean, I still think you're the master.
I reeled them suckers in.
He really does. He's like, I hate clickbait. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. Here's a whole bunch of clickbait.
Rob, how do I buy your ketones product? I've heard it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's coming out in the summer.
If you can't
margarita keto drink with real tequila in it.
Listen,
Fantastic.
Join them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see it.
So JP, what did you want to rant about today?
Oh fuck. I can't remember now.
You were getting angry at people.
Oh no, just I would get. I can't stand seeing this. Right. I think it's almost it comes across as a little bit of bitterness and sort of tall poppy syndrome. Where people are out there pontificating about ways to diet and you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. It's, you need to create all sorts of body positive sort of messages and blah 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 without having any fucking results to show for the pontification. Now, if you've got a whole bunch of results, right, and you're pontificating about the way you do things and thinking that it's better than everybody else's way, well, you've got someone to back that up, and you can turn around and say, well, here are my results, right? This is how I achieved it. This is why I did it this way. And that's why I think that's the best way of doing things. Okay? And we all know there is no best way of doing things. It's the best way for the individual that's in front of you that's important, right? But when people post, you know, ranty things or clickbait type things, where they talk about, you know, the ways to not diet, like bad things to do, right? Without having any fucking results to show, it kind of makes me think you're just doing that because you've got no results and you want to try and grab attention somehow. Because nobody's posting up that they're starving their clients. Nobody. So why are you railing against that? Or because you think that's what everybody else is doing, and that's the reason why they get results and you don't. That's the way it comes across to me, right? So I don't know what you guys.
I agree with this. I think I had a rant on Instagram the other day about defending meal plans. I think we spoke about it, you know, a little while ago. And the thing, I think that the anti-meal plan movement is based off the fact that somebody popular in the industry has gone, meal plans suck. And then we get these whole bunch of people that have never really given a meal plan or macros or any sort of dieting structure to a client ever, now going, meal plans are terrible. I'm like, do you really have any proof of this? Like, I think that like everything has its place.
Yeah. As Berardi, Mr. or Dr. John Berardi always puts in his posts and in his writings, he's nutritionally agnostic. I am nutritionally and training technique wise agnostic. I'm going to use whatever tool works for the individual in front of me, right? That fits within my 4 kind of principles that I use for the kind of body transformation stuff, and also sits within what they're looking to actually achieve. And that's what we're doing, right? Now, if that means that somebody ends up doing intermittent fasting, then so be it. I mean, it's not something that I've ever prescribed or sort of suggested a client use, because I don't think it's that effective for what I do. But in some circumstances, might it be? Yeah, possibly. Keto, I don't use keto. Might it be very effective in some instances, some circumstances? Yeah. Especially if somebody's completely sedentary and they're literally doing nothing. Like a PSMF style sort of diet could be useful to someone that's very, very inactive. Someone that's super morbidly obese going to do really well on that, because it was invented for super morbidly obese people. You know, the idea being that you want to try and spare as much muscle tissue as possible and get as much bulk off that human being as you possibly can in the shortest time frame. You know? There are a million ways to skin a cat. A million ways. Even
to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
If you've got a trainer, like, listen, they're hungry, they're new, they're keen, you know, they really want to make a difference in this industry. Where do they get started before they've got a portfolio of results promoting themselves on social media when they can't come with any authority?
Right, get yourself in shape.
Okay, yeah.
Free, get yourself in shape. Spend 12 weeks going through a diet phase, record the whole thing, make a diary of it, right? A video diary. Get up in the morning, record your thoughts, record everything, right? And use that 12-week sort of diet and all that footage that you've put together from it as a way of sort of hooking people in and getting them to kind of pay attention to you and buy into you. The other thing that goes with that, goes hand in hand with that, is like, how can you have any empathy for anyone when you've never got yourself in shape?
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't mean hire a coach and let a coach get you in shape. I mean get yourself in shape. Like I've had coaches that have helped me, and I've done it myself. And in all of those instances, you learn from it, you know. But get yourself in shape before you hire a coach. And then down the line, hire a coach.
That being said, that being said, I think if someone's in a position where they're looking to say to make their first investment, and I know I've had this before, I've spoken to coaches and, like, you know, where should I place my money in terms of learning more? It's like, until you've hired a coach, your first one should be hiring a coach to get yourself in shape. You'll learn more from going through the process itself, seeing someone's other systems, seeing how it works with you, and learning how to get stuck in, and then add a course on maybe down the line to layer on the knowledge above that. But I think it's often like, you know, and I've done my fair share of coaches, I've done my fair share of getting in shape myself, and I've done my fair share of courses. And I think you're not going to get anywhere with a course until you really, really have done it yourself to actually appreciate where these things are applicable. And I think many people jump into something before they ever really got into it.
I mean, some people can go on a course and sit and listen to a seminar and click, get it, right? And then be able to go away and apply that. Some people need to be guided through it and have a hand, not held. I don't want to sound disparaging about people, but some people are learning in more experiential ways, right? Kind of kinetic style learning. I like a combination, but I can get the information that's coming across the seminar and go away and apply it myself and learn it myself that way.
How much of that is because you started with a decade of training before you started going into education? You went, I've learned to train, I felt to train. Like maybe you didn't know the ins and the outs and the whys, but it's because you've been in the, I hate the term in the trenches. We're not in, you know, we're not in the SOM, but like we're in the gym trying stuff. We're in the gym trying stuff is the reason why you did a course, like a mechanics course, and you go, that's why that felt really good on my chest.
Yeah, I mean,
and if you hadn't done that, would you have been able to apply the courses like you do? And that's why I think getting a coach is probably the first investment another coach should often make.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends, right? I mean, using me as an example is probably a poor example. I was originally going to be an engineer before I decided to pop out and go snowboarding for a decade. So I have my psychology, my mentality is always to analyze, take apart, put back together, and see if you can make it better. All right. So it's possibly a little.
You were that kid with a lighter, weren't you? You were that kid who had a PlayStation, a lighter, set it apart and broke it, and then tried to put it back together. You were that terror, weren't you?
No, but I did it successfully, and I did it successfully with less parts. Right, and I did that several times over with pretty much every appliance in my mother's house. I would take things apart when she was at work, put them back together, and be like, "Oh man, I've got 2 bits left. I've got spares," you know, and it would work. But that's always been my mentality. So it's maybe a little bit wrong to use me as because I think I'm a bit strange. Like, I really think I'm a bit strange. Right.
Definitely.
Simon knows me better than most people, and you know I am a bit strange. I like to tinker with things and pull them apart and see how they work. You know, and sometimes I like to do things. I like to test things out on myself that are just beyond the pale stupid, to make sure that they're beyond the pale stupid. And Simon's been party to that too. You know.
Yeah, plenty of times.
We've done some things in training. We've done some things nutritionally where you just go, wow, that was bad. That was just, we shouldn't do that again. That's not nice, you know. Like,
I going back to the point, I think that's the important part. Like I remember when I did the first UP hypertrophy camp, right? And that, you know, we obviously where we met, right? That 10 exercise giant set on quads. And I didn't know at the time. I was like, UP get results. I'm going to go and do this workout. I go back and every one of my clients gets a 10 exercise giant set on quads. What a dumb thing to do. And in hindsight, never, you know, 64-year-old Mary was like, come on, sissy squat, bitch, in you go. And I'm like, but I think it's good to learn, do dumb shit yourself, realize you can't recover from it, realize why those didn't work. And I think it's those dumb experiences that means that when I go and do education now, I've got reference points, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the rest of it, right?
Sometimes what you learn is what you know, what not to do.
Yes.
So that's one of the good things about having an open mind and being open to learn things, right? Sometimes you learn what not to do. But I think if you're a brand new trainer coming into the industry, you can't go too far wrong. Because, I mean, look, let's be honest, right? You're a brand new trainer coming into the industry. Do you have money to spend on a decent coach? Right?
No, probably not, mate.
Not, right? It's the same as coming in and being like, I'm going to spend money on a marketing mentor. You probably don't have money for it. Why would you do that when you can pick up a book, learn a little bit, and kind of build this yourself? It's part of the journey, right? The journey should be enjoyable too. You should be thinking that get into the processes of this rather than try to find shortcuts. And a coach, to a degree, is a bit of a shortcut because it means you've not done the reading yourself. You've not done the research. You've not put the thought into how am I going to set this up. So how does that tell somebody that you are going to then go and try and coach that you know what you're doing, right? If you've got a coach and you're talking about your coach sorted you out with your macros, this, that, and the next thing, why would I hire you? Why would I not just hire your coach?
That becomes a big, certainly in the world today with the online world, that becomes a bigger thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, like for years, the choice of personal trainer was who's in my gym, either in the best shape or I quite like them, they're not too scary. Or I like them because they are scary.
Or the best one, which is
how many clients know what's the best one?
Which is the one that everybody else talks about?
Yeah.
Who's the one that everybody else says that's the guy to see?
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're necessarily the best one. They could be the most entertaining one. It could be the better, and that's a big part of being a good coach, is being a good communicationist. But that's not everything. And then when a lot of people don't know what a good coach is, they go, I like him, he's funny.
Listen, you can be the most entertaining person on the planet, okay? Nobody's going to pay for that for longer than about 4 weeks. Simple, yeah? So you have to be a combination of personable, right? And charisma. You have to have charisma, but you have to still deliver. I mean, if you don't deliver, people will not continue to buy from you, right? You know, you get a client that's just not engaged, you're not going to sell, a renewal to that client. If they're not engaged,
True.
It's because they're not getting the results they want.
True, but you see plenty of coaches with full diaries that you know full well that aren't good, right? It's a weird industry, especially in the online Instagram game, where coaches that have got a good following get full. We've got a deal that Tom Brady can sell mobility programs. We've got a deal that, that insert ex-football player here can sell ab pads. It's not necessarily based off talent all the time.
No, but this is not, like, I don't think those are the same thing as being as the personal training. I think the personal training side of things, people that are looking to spend money, it kind of comes back to this whole influencer thing, right? People that are looking to spend money to get in shape, yeah, that are willing to spend a little bit more money to get in shape because they want something quality. They'll do the research. They'll shop around. They'll look for reviews. They'll look for a website to see if there's social proof, results. They'll look for testimonials. They'll possibly want to speak to the coach themselves, and get booked in for a consult call or just get into some sort of dialogue with that coach. And they'll look for the right signals. They'll look for the person that's asking the right questions.
So we've dominated this. So what Rob? What is your opinion on
I'm loving being the passenger in this. This is so good. But I think you've both come across with the two strongest points here. JP, you mentioned principles at the start.
Yeah.
And then Simon, you said about going to the UP camp, learning giant sets for legs, and then going away and trying it on 60-year-old Doris. But these newer guys have not been in the industry long enough or had enough clients and enough experience to build their own set of principles to then go to these camps and go, okay, that's cool, but I probably won't use that with someone
Ever.
that I've currently got. Whereas at the moment they're so fresh and new, they don't know what works, so all they can do is regurgitate what someone else has said will work, and that just so happens to be their favorite influencer or celebrity PT or whoever. And again, if they've not put this on themselves, if they're not, the overweight PT or out of shape PT is another whole other debate in itself. But if they've not done that on themselves, they can have zero empathy with the client when they're going through stuff.
No.
Same as a fucking 24-year-old life coach telling me how to overcome stress.
Yeah,
You have no idea, You have no idea.
Do you think this comes down to then maybe a bigger point of, we're talking about the brand new PT coming off the block saying that you shouldn't be regurgitating other people's information because it's cool, and that was the original point JP brought up. Is the bigger point of this is that a lot of new coaches now are going into this industry for the wrong reasons, because the people that go into this for the right reasons have probably already done this on themselves, whether they've got photo evidence of it or not. They're in shape or have been in shape going into this career because they like the craft.
Now, I think everybody that gets into an industry like this one gets into an industry like this one to do something for themselves, to fix themselves. Same as physiotherapists, right? Physios almost always become physiotherapists because they're trying to fix themselves, yeah, or somebody in their immediate family. You know, like your mother might have a serious issue with her back, and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go in university and get a good job working as a physiotherapist, so I can learn how to fix that. Yeah. So I think that by and large, most people get into the industry for the right reasons, albeit somewhat selfish reasons. Now, I think that when you peel that back and you get to the person's now in the industry, they've got the qualifications that like tell them that they're an expert. They're either going to do one or two things. They're going to realize that I don't actually know how to do this properly. I've just got a test pass certificate. It doesn't mean I know what I'm doing. I now need to go and learn how to do this. Or they walk out going, I'm an expert, I'm going to sell myself as an expert. And I don't think that either of the two things is 100% bang on. I think most people that come out of the PT courses has a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of an understanding of what they should probably do. And I think the ones that come out thinking that they're an expert are probably they're just being super overconfident. And you kind of have to meet in the middle somewhere, right? You don't know much, but you still know more than most people. So
it's the Wolf of Wall Street thing, isn't it? It's understanding you only need to be a chapter ahead of your client, and like the best coaches in the world, and you should have a wealth of experience. But there is a market for people that would want to help people lose the first 5 pounds. And like if you're fresh out the block, you market yourself as initially as that person that can help you lose the first 5 pounds because I know more. I'm a chapter ahead of you. And as you get people through the first 5 pounds, eventually you go, do you know what? I've had a few people get to 10% body fat here. Maybe now I should bump out on marketing and go, do you know what? I can actually get you all the way. Rather than coming out in day one and going, I am a body transformation coach.
That is word for word what Colsey says. I mean, word for word. You go and do any of his kind of mentorship stuff. Mark Coles is a great guy. That's word for word what he says. You start out, do the weight loss thing, get 5 to 10 pounds off people, and then every now and again you'll get one that goes all in, goes all the way. And the more you start talking about that, the vibe creates your tribe sort of side of things. The more people pay attention to, oh, this is the guy to go to for losing 10 pounds. This is the guy to go to lose 20 pounds. This is the guy to go to actually get really in shape and get body composition improvements and the body transformation stuff. This is the guy to go to help me build muscle, blah, blah, blah.
And that's it's good that
continuum, right?
Yeah, and I think it's good that more people need to market themselves that way because I think sometimes going into all our old employers' gym or Mark Coles's gym could actually be intimidating for the person getting off the sofa, or even sometimes coming to us, although we're in a slightly different realm of being independent, in terms of how we do things and more adaptable in that sense. It's not as big a brand, but there's more of a market for those people that that can get people up off the sofa. And there's a lot of hate for those things. Like the Zumba wouldn't exist if there wasn't a market for people that were overwhelmed and scared of the body transformation coach, but wanted to do something to lose the first 5 pounds. And I remember in my early days as a PT, I used to shit on classes and go, oh, that's rubbish. It's not effective. This is way better. And then actually that person, Zumba, they enjoyed it. It got them off the sofa. They're not my client anyway right now. They're not my market. But in 10 years, they might be my market because Zumba got them 2 pounds down. Then they go, I'm going to change my nutrition. Then they're 5 pounds down. Then they go, I might go into the gym now. I'm not as scared. Then they're 15 pounds down. And they go, right, body transformation coach time. And if I'm the guy going, Zumba's awful, then I've lost that client before they even come up to the gym floor.
Yeah. Exactly. There's no bad way of necessarily doing things as long as you're keeping yourself relatively safe. And you go and do whatever classes you want. If it works, it
Yeah,
works.
any of you boys tried aqua aerobics?
No.
That sounds like something Rob would want to do. Rob, you must have done it, right?
I had to cover that a good few times in my early days.
So hard. It's so hard. I will never judge those old dears again. It's so hard.
It kind of shows a point as well, like the amount of classes I did have to cover because for whatever reason. But sometimes there would be like 15-minute core class. The ladies are waiting, the instructor hasn't shown. Can you go in and show them something? And I'm like, right, I'm going to really show these ladies how to train their fucking core. And some would love it, and some would absolutely hate it because I've come in with my way of going, right, boom, this is how we're going to do it. Even though I've never seen that class, never seen those ladies before, I have no idea what their current levels are. Now, if I'd gone in and asked questions first, probably be an entirely different story at the end of that class. And I think that comes back to what these guys are doing on social. They're coming out with, this is my way, even though it's not their way. Rather than showing several possibilities of what could be done, or asking questions, because you get the data back at the end of the day. That's where most of this stuff's going to come from. That's how you know what's working with your clients is getting the data back and asking questions. But I don't know. They don't. They just come up with this is it. You need to get your 20,000 steps a day in, but you also can't be starving yourself of calories because then you're not gonna, you're gonna binge it all back and what have you. But at the same time, they don't know. I'm not kidding. We'll talk with JP about my TDEE calculator another time. But I've had PTs jump on my TDEE calculator going, those calories are way too high. Like, what, did you put your numbers in correctly?
For who?
For who?
For who?
Yeah.
Oh, those numbers are way too high because you've told us that you're much more active than you actually are. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the you hit the nail on the head with that. And I think what something I thought about there from what you were saying about people coming into a class and having their way and asking questions is that we're told with the fitness business mentor thing now that you have to be super niche. You have to be really, really niche. There's no point doing it if you're not really niche. And I think that's good advice for a lot of people that have been in the industry a little while, got some results and want to speak to their target audience. But if you're just at your PT course, maybe this isn't the time to niche. Maybe this is the time to work with as many possible people as possible, learn how to get results, learn the kind of people that you can get results with, and also the people you enjoy coaching and the people that drain the life out of you. You don't know that until you've done 4 or 5 years of gym floor stuff.
Yeah, I think the gym floor will always have a place in the development of a trainer, right? Because you can't coach anybody online if you have never coached them one-to-one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an art, right? But I think that the niche thing, when somebody first walking into the industry, no, it's stupid. Don't try and market yourself as a body transformation specialist or a body transformation coach. There's nothing gets on my nerves more than somebody that's got on their fucking Instagram bio, body transformation specialist, and you look through and there's not a single client photograph. Okay, so where is this specialist outcome that you can deliver, or even worse, they post up a before and after of a transformation, and it's like, okay, look, it's not a transformation. It's a good result.
Yeah,
it's a good first 12 weeks, but that client has lost a small amount of fat. They look a little bit better, but the before and after pictures aren't that far apart. I mean, come on, man.
I think during lockdown, I don't know if it's because everyone's just on the assumption that lockdown training is harder. I mean, we did this in a previous episode, but I think it's more common than ever now to get results. We're going, managed to get this transformation during lockdown. I'm like, is there a difference? Like, I think the after photo looks worse. Like, have they lost a pound? Have they changed the lighting? Have they just put the leggings down a little bit? Because it doesn't look like a transformation. And I've seen these more and more now. I'm not saying everything has to be like ridiculous. But they're like, have some pride in what you're putting out there on your profile.
I don't know that it's necessarily a case of not having pride in what they're putting out. I think it's just kind of because the thing is, there's none of them where the client hasn't made an improvement, right? I mean, that would be shit because it would make you look bad. So there's clearly an improvement made, and we've all done this back in the early days of our career, where we post a before and after picture, and we're really pleased with the outcome and the results that the client's getting because we know the client, right? We've been working with them, the client's pleased. But the simple fact is, the photographs, they don't really tell a story that's says body transformation. So what do? You just put before and after pictures, or you just put ongoing. Just say it how it is. It's not finished. Nobody's ever finished. So it's not the finished article. It's not. This is a waypoint. It's a marker. Like, this person's going to continue to improve from here. They've been working with me for, say, X amount of weeks. This is what we've been doing. This is what they have to say about it. They're really happy with the results, but we want more. We're going to push for more. That's great. That tells the world that you've helped this person over this time frame. They're really happy with it. This is what's going into it. It doesn't say you're a body transformation specialist. Like, if you want to be that, you kind of have to be that. Talking about it doesn't get you results. I mean, I know, like I said before, Colsey likes to talk about your vibe creates your tribe, but only if the level that you're at right now, you're absolutely smashing, and you're getting one or two transformations through at that point, right? So let's say you start off and you're doing the kind of, you fresh out the academy, all right? And what do you start? Weight loss. Start with weight loss. Do that. Focus on that. Be really, really good at that. There's a niche that a beginner personal trainer can do, right? Focus on weight loss. Help people lose 10 pounds, right? You get really good at that. You start getting body transformations. Start talking about body transformations. Start posting more and more pictures of body transformations. Now you can put that in your Instagram bio, because you've got social proof to say you can do it. You've got the backup evidence. It irritates me when people say that they're something without any actual evidence to prove that they are. I fucking hate it.
People panic as well. If you look at your website, that's a great example. I don't notice that you mention the word expert or specialist anywhere, because your proof is that for you. I don't think I've ever purchased something from someone that told me they were an expert or had that in their bio or anything like that, because you don't need to.
Well, there's a reason for that, right? So the word expert, what is an expert, right? An expert is someone who has spent time learning the ins and outs of something. An expert is someone that understands processes that aren't variable. There's no variation to them. You cannot be an expert in something that has variation and unpredictability. And human bodies are unpredictable, so you cannot be an expert in that, right? Because an expert is someone that's spent it's apparently 10,000 hours, repetitively learning something. An expert is not someone that's like a genius level, can do everything with everyone. An expert is someone that can do one thing really, really well. So I don't call myself an expert, and I won't call myself an expert, because being an expert means that you're really good at dealing with things that aren't unpredictable, right? So you can't be an expert in things like sales. You can't be an expert in the stock market. You can't be an expert in human bodies and how they're going to respond to diet and exercise, because they're so unpredictable that it's just not possible to have spent that time to learn every in and out of every single human being on the planet. Because you'd have to treat them all as one individual case study, right? And you're gonna have to do 10,000 hours on 7.5 billion people. So it's not possible, right? So what you have to be instead is you have to be someone that can intuitively make adjustments. right? And you do have to use some experiential sort of almost prejudice towards things. You look at certain individuals and you go, okay, you're going to respond to this because I've had clients like you in the past and they responded to this, right? And you go down that route, and most of the time it works, and sometimes it doesn't. You have to reverse a little bit and go back in with a different approach. And it's observation-based coaching, right? Which is what we should all be doing, instead of fucking paint by numbers. I've said this to loads of people. You know, you can set up cookie cutter diets and programs, and you can have them, you know, reduced by 5% of calories every other week, and add cardio every other week, and blah blah blah, right? And you'll get, with what I call a paint by numbers approach, you'll get a pretty picture, yeah? But you're not painting a fucking masterpiece. Painting a masterpiece requires an intuitive touch. It requires the ability to look at a person and know that, okay, they're going to need more carbs at this point, or I need to back off training for a week and ramp calories up and then push back in. You know, it's not something that I believe you can be an expert in. That's just my take on it. So I don't know if you guys think I'm wrong on that, man. Like, feel free to chime in. Tell me if you guys are, I mean, you guys think you're experts. By all means. I don't judge. That's just my opinion on myself. And that's
I agree. I agree entirely. And I've always, I remember I did before I moved out to Hong Kong, I did a sort of like an open Q&A with the guys I was sort of running education for at the time. And someone asked me, like, one of the juniors there was like, when was the point where you feel like you made it? When you felt like you could, you know, you could always get a result? Like you essentially asking when I felt like I was an expert. I'm like, maybe other people gave certain answers, and I'm like, I never really have. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. One, everything you've just said, but also it's that, like, imposter syndrome gets a bad rap in this thing that is holding people back. And I do think it holds people back. But I also think without any imposter syndrome at all, without any feeling of on my days there's more I need to learn, you don't have that drive to be better. My experience, my decade in the industry where I've learned things, I've invested in mentors, I've invested in, you know, coaches, I've collaborated with people, I've got in front of more clients, I've worked hard. It's all in this pursuit of being better. And I think if you, the people who, it's a Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Like, the people who feel like they're experts are often probably going to be the ones that don't learn much because they've just stopped feeling they need to.
Yeah. But conversely, you can continue learning way past the point of it being practically usable for you.
True.
The whole point is that you hit a certain level of knowledge, and instead of continuing to try and accrue more knowledge, what you should be trying to do at that point is disseminate knowledge. It doesn't mean to say you stop trying to accrue. You take your foot off the gas, because beyond a certain point, more knowledge is not going to help you do this particular job, right? It's not knowledge that helps, it's experience, right? I've had this conversation with a couple of people recently where I said to them that there's a lot of people out there that try and teach personal trainers how to do the body transformation stuff, right? And you know, we've been in this industry for a while, the three of us, and we've all seen it. We've all probably paid for some of them and done them. The fact of the matter is that you will learn far, far more from coaching individuals about how to get people in shape than you ever will from going on a course, right? So if somebody asked me tomorrow, can you teach me to do what you do? My response would be, I can teach you how to handle a certain percentage of the population with relative ease, but the other percentage of the population that aren't just going to respond in an atypical fashion, I can't teach you that. That would take you a few years. You know, I can show you how to set up some of these calories. I can show you how to set up some of these training plans. I can show you how to plan for the future of the training. But the fact is that what's on paper on a regular basis as part of the plan sometimes has to change. It has to be adjusted. There has to be a degree of intuitive coaching, because not everybody's going to respond the way you want them to and the way you expect them to. And you cannot teach that. You have to learn it by working with people, right? And it helps to have somebody in your back pocket that you can bounce ideas off and questions off. So yeah, do mentors come in handy? Yeah. But I think the way that it's being sold is possibly wrong. I think the way that the people that want to be educators should approach things, and I'm not directing this at you, Simon, because I know that you've got your education platform that you're trying to put together, and you're a good educator as it is already. But I think that people like yourself, what you should do is you should sell a consultation service rather than a mentorship. Because a consultation service would be much more valuable and much more of an ongoing thing for years than a mentorship that lasts X amount of weeks. The ability to phone somebody up in my first couple of years, be like, hey, Simon, listen, I've got this client and blah, blah, blah. And for you to go, okay, I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions about this client, and we're going to come up with a plan of attack together. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to ask you the right questions so that you figure it out yourself. And you're going to go away and you're going to observe the outcome. You're going to observe what changes you see. That's fucking infinitely more valuable than a fucking mentorship.
I think in a way, but again, it comes down to the going back to that topic of niche issues, right? Like if when we're looking at trainers, the trainers we spoke about earlier on being fresh off the bat, they just need to understand a system. They need to understand all those things you just mentioned, how to work with 70% of the population. They need to understand how to get a framework to work from, so that when they layer on knowledge, when they do their own study, when they get a mentor, when they bounce ideas off, when they read their own books or do their own education, they know where this applies in the framework with their work, and that develops. But I agree with you, as those coaches become more experienced and understand the 70%, the top of the bell curve, that's where going into a more hands-on mentoring approach works really well. This is why Precision Nutrition, we mentioned John Berardi earlier on, has nailed this with level 1 being, here's a framework of how to coach nutrition. And level 2 is, here's your guy that's going to bounce ideas off you to make you really good at it. Right. And I think it depends where you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's to a degree, I'm completely on board with that. But I don't think it's 70% of the population that you're teaching for, because I don't think that 70% of people fall into that typical middle ground where it's relatively easy to program and diet them. I actually think that the majority of people require someone that's got better coaching skills and can make those intuitive decisions based on what's in front of them. I think that the beginner people that are just getting into the industry, they're gonna get success with the robots that will just do what they're told, right? But they're not gonna get results from, for instance, the 40-year-old mother that's working in private equity, stressed, and has a whole bunch of other things on her plate, who might be a robot, might just do what they're told, but that drives them into a hole, and they're not the type that's going to complain about it. So you have to be able to pick up on signals.
That comes down to just more than necessarily experience intuitive eating, in being intuitive decisions. That's often the interpersonal skills of a coach that we all know the best coaches are the ones that aren't just really good coaches but cannot communicate with humans. Don't make good coaches. Like, I've seen coaches that aren't as good technically, but are better than a lot of really good technical coaches, because they are incredible at communicating with people and getting through those problems and having empathy and dealing with that person's stressful life.
Like you,
and then, huh?
Is it like you?
We're not calling our mates on this podcast yet.
Yes,
there'll be a time.
Yes,
when we're bigger, when we're impervious, when we've got a whole host of guests lined up. Let's not alienate all our guests.
We're not going to throw anyone on the bus. I'm not about that.
Because I like some of the people that I could probably mention in that bracket, and I I know, you know, they're great coaches.
I don't like
They're
anyone.
not great communicators, but I like them.
I don't even
So,
like.
no. Huh?
So I don't even like you.
Oh, fuck off.
Well, then this one's kind of it's a fun topic to just pull apart. I think I genuinely think that consultation idea, it has legs, and I think that if someone was opening up their own education portal, that they might want to run with that idea. Simon.
I'll bear that in mind.
So if I've just made you lots of money, then
You want to cut, right?
just remember.
Yeah.
Remember. No cut required.
All right, cool. That's good. That's good to know. Anyway,
if I'm giving you ideas, it's 'cause I don't want them myself, because I'm not interested in moving into that aspect of educating on how to do.
Yeah, that's what I was essentially doing over the last year, right? It's been working with trainers mainly in Singapore, doing exactly that and being the sounding board. I think it can be useful. I think you find it more useful with the guys who've got an understanding of the framework, but an unknowing of the application. I think when people know nothing, it doesn't work.
Simon, when you get on, turn off your fucking ring up on your phone. I know it's you because I sent you the message.
Yeah.
It was me. The early ones weren't though. I'm not that popular, unfortunately, tonight.
All right. On that note, having covered all those bombshells and, you know, having spent the whole time staring at Rob's head, I think we should call it a day, boys.
Been a pleasure as always, guys.
That's a wrap. All right. Until the next time, peace.